host instructor for the evening, Dr. Elliot Pleasant Bay. First of all, give praises to Allah, honor to his last noble prophet, Noble Drew Ali, as we honor all the true and divine prophets before him. We also want to extend much honor to each and every one of you, and welcome to our national class that we may be able to enlighten our. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the class for those of you who may have questions or answers for that matter. We want to welcome everyone by first beginning with our national prayer that we have been taught by our ancient forefathers, Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Islam. Alhamdulillah. From the divine constitution of Moorish America, we read Act 1, which is the Constitution itself. Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are in power to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. Act 2, the bylaws. All meetings be open and closed properly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Fridays are holy day of rest because on the Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on the Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day all over the world. Act 3, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all of Moorish America. No citizen is put in danger or accused falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all. They may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. With that, we will hold the reading of our divine constitution in sequential order with our subject chapter for the week, chapter 31, justice, and withholding our chapter in this sequential order with Act 3 of our divine constitution. Welcome everyone, and through the principle of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we are most humbly at your service to Islam. We're going to have the Grand National Secretary to read our subject chapter 31, and which is the holy instruction for the Prophet Justice. This will be our subject matter for tonight. As you notice more, it's the one thing that we have a tendency to get away from is just because we have been brought on a total misconception about what justice is all about. The way we were brought up here in the West, justice was whatever punishment that the West or the citizens cared to bestow upon us during the time of constitutional and unconstitutional and extended slavery. However, we are now have been elevated with our education, that we now have the true meaning of what justice is all about. And it's not a bad thing at all. In fact, it's to our advantage to know that justice is within us, Islam. All right, so with that in mind, we'll have the Grand National Secretary to read chapter 31, subject chapter, and we also will be basing part of the explanation dealing with justice on page 540 and 541 of the great book, Noble Drew Ali, the Book of Fire, the Exhuming of a Nation, on page 540 and 541. We will get into that momentarily, and we assure you more that we will have our opening class this evening, so please have your pencils and papers ready. Islam.
Islam. Thank you, Brother Chairman. Islam Moors, first of all, I want to rise, giving all praises, great God Allah, giving a most special honor to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times. We want to give honor to all of our officials. We want to give honor to all staff, all of our Moorish citizens, giving honor to our guests and everyone online. Chapter 31, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Justice. The peace of society dependeth on justice. The happiness of individuals on the safe enjoyment of eye on the goods of thy neighbor. Let whatever is his property be sacred from thy touch. Let no temptation allure thee, nor any provocation excite thee to lift up thy hand to the hazard of his life. Him not in his character, bear no false witness against him. Corrupt not his servant to cheat or forsake him, and the wife of his bosom, O tempt not to sin. It will be a grief to his heart, which thou canst not relieve, an injury to his life, which no reparation can atone. In thy dealings with men, be impartial and just, and do unto them as thou wouldest they should do unto thee. Be faithful to thy trust, and deceive not the man who relieth upon thee. Be assured it is less evil in the sight of Allah to steal than to betray. Oppress not the poor, and defraud not of his hire the laboring man. When thou sellest for gain, hear the whispering of conscience, and be satisfied with moderation. Nor from the ignorance of thy buyer take any advantage. Pay the debts which thou owest, for he who gave thee credit relieth upon thine honor, and to withhold from him his due is both mean and unjust. O son of society, examine thy heart, call remembrance to thy aid, and if in any of these things thou hast transgressed, make a speedy reparation to the utmost of thy power.
Yes, thank you so much, Secretary. And again, we want to welcome everyone to our National Sunday School class that hopefully, inshallah, we will be able to present these higher lessons to you as intended through the holy instruction from our noble prophet, Noble Dwali. We have yet to become a nation of people more, so we encourage everyone online, all our citizens, to please develop having national eyes. We must stop looking at each other through the eyes of an organization or a small group or individuals or cliques or gangs. We are a clean and pure nation of people. We are today, we are full of, and it's up to us to develop the eyes, the ears, and the hearing and the understanding of a nation of people. You are what you think. If you think you are a nation, that's what you are. If you think you're just a little local clique, a group of, no matter how you attach yourself to the human family, if you're not a nation of people, you're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it a small way, okay? So we have to learn to love each other as we love ourselves, and only the truth is going to bring this unity out of us, because his care will only be continued to us all and our love to each other. This is law. And as we go about this law, we want to highlight the chapter 31, justice. We have passed out through the email, those who we have the email listing to, an adult version or a breakdown, which we'll be going in momentarily, of the chapter 31 as we have did the preceding chapters. This is special chapter 31. If you have received it on your email, we ask you to please place it before you. Those of you who have been our stable students, you understand the routine. However, if you do not have it at this time, then we will give you the email address to here, the consulate headquarters, which is 4 words, exhuming of a nation. The exhuming of a nation, not the word the, but just exhuming of a nation at hotmail.com. Exhuming, that means just what it says, digging up a body, okay? Something that ain't got no life in it, you know, like Negro, blacks, and colors, okay? We're digging up that body that's been buried here 400 years, exhuming of a nation, E-X-H-U-M-I-N-G, exhuming of a nation at hotmail.com. Send me an email requesting a copy of the lesson, chapter 31, and I will forward it to you sometime tonight after this class. Okay, can't attend to too many things at once. All right. So getting on with our chapter 31, host, Dr. L.Hugh Pleasant Bay. I'll be your host this evening. And in dealing with justice, let us define the word justice, because we ourselves, we have, I think the way we used to use it on the streets, just us. Because usually that's the way it came down. And we usually have reference to the wrath of either 5 the police, somebody that was in authority, because we ourselves realized very early on that we as men particularly, we do not have any power, none whatsoever, within the jurisdiction of the United States. None. We're not speaking negative, we're speaking the truth, okay? We do not have any power. We don't have power over our children. We do not have power. We don't have courts. We don't have anything. No power at all. So it would behoove us, since we have been actually free to become a nation of people for 145 years. You're talking about since 1865, when the United States Congress ratified into law the 13th Amendment. And ever since then, the 13th Amendment, by the way, nor the Emancipation Proclamation, did not free anybody. Okay, make no mistake about that. No one has the power to free a nation of people, okay? The nation of people must free themselves. They don't want to have that kind of power, because if they did, they would have the power to re-enslave you again, okay? But since 1865, when Congress got rid of the constitutional slavery that had held us down and enveloped us, they abolished that. So that's as far as the United States could go. The rest was up to us. No one told us that we was a nation of people. And so what happened, in 1871, the United States lost its jurisdictional powers as a sovereign government, and ended up going back into the corporate status as it was originally with Britain, okay? So now what we have, in 1886, they had the birth of Noble Drew Ali to take place, and with this great birth, we the people became recognized the world over. Now let me tell you how this happened, okay? Because if you're not up to date with the prophethood from Adam all the way through, your host was the people called Jesus, Muhammad, right on through to Noble Drew Ali, then you would not have a clear conception exactly what prophethood is dedicated to. But every nation of people, especially those nations, in fact, the only nation of the human family, people of hue, okay? These are those who you have prophethood, or prophets that will be born unto them. Anytime they're subject to stray away from the universal order of things, okay? So we want to, and that prophet that born from amongst them will bring them right, steer them on the right path, to place them back into the limelight where they can be progressive. And once the prophet is born into a nation of people, all nations will lead to that that special. All nations will, all roads will lead to that special nation. Okay, that's where it happened with the Holy Prophet Confucius. The people of China, the Holy Prophet Buddha, the people of India, the Holy Prophet Abraham, Isaac, Solomon, David. It doesn't matter. You can go all up and down the ladder. Okay, present day. Well, we deal with the last prophet over there in Arabia, which was Muhammad. Today, all roads are leading to Saudi Arabia. Why? It's not just because of the oil. No, it's because they had stopped being such pagans. Well, at least they stopped for a while. And they had, anyway, all roads began to lead to Saudi Arabia. Like so, Noble Drew Ali put the crescent moon and star as well as the scimitar, okay, here to the west. And now all roads are going to lead to the west, but it's going to lead to the west in a light of righteousness. The reason why I had to make that distinction, because the roads are still leading to the west, all right, but it's not in such a good light. Noble Drew Ali said that one day every nation was going to turn against the United States, and the only way they're going to be able to do any kind of business would be with the help of the Moors. Okay. So this in mind, let us see how Noble Drew Ali in this chapter, justice, is beneficial to the Moorish America of Islam. Again, want to welcome everyone to our National Sunday School class. Justice, and given a definition for the word justice, we find out that you're talking about the great God. In different languages, the great God is referred to a different thing. Except if you notice, in the English language, they do not have a single name for the great God. Not throughout the entire English language would you ever find it. The closest they can get to is a name that they made up. They put the J's in the 15th century and they call that Jesus. But you can't call that God either, not the great God, okay? You also have, in dealing with the definition of justice, it's also our fifth principles. You have love, truth, peace, freedom, and then the fifth one, of course, is justice. There's a reason why justice is one of the highest principles of the five principles known to man. All five of these principles surmises us as a nation of people. It also surmises us as gods in manifest or in human form, okay? When you find the five-pointed open star, it represents us as gods. And the reason why these lessons have not been known is because it's not to the advantage of the West or anyone else for us to know that we're God, because you cannot enslave a God, okay? The only way you can enslave a people, you must be able to take the God state away from them, period. So in order to be successful with slavery here with the Moors, they had to enslave the babies straight out of the womb so they would never know and never be taught that they were gods. But the lessons are back now. Praise the Lord. Okay, now, our fifth principle is justice. Justice also coming out of the ancient Kemetic schools. The ancient teacher that Noble Drew Ali was a Kemetian Adept master or Egyptian master, if you will, okay? And in this, you'll find that justice also means right order, okay? It also means the divine reason or balance. Justice also brings about an equilibrium, okay? A steadiness or steadfastness or a balance. The reason why justice can bring about these kind of things is because justice is what it is that creates those things, to put things in the harmonies of life. It's just as it should be. When you see, whenever you see justice, you find government, okay? For example, Allah has two great attributes. The great God has two great attributes. Of these great attributes, the first one is to be the creator. All of us, we hear about the creator all the time. The creator this and the creator that, the great creator. Okay, great. The creator does just that. He creates stuff. That's where you find the name, the tribal name to the Moors is El. E-L-L. It's pronounced L, not eel. That's something that looks like a snake swims in the water. That's an eel, okay? It's spelled differently. The L is E-L, like El Salvador, El Cid, or Nathaniel, Daniel, Samuel, okay? This is pronounced L, okay? And this L means a divine creator, okay? Or one who is able to create according to divine order. Then the other high attributes of the great God is to govern, okay? And by that it means to hold in force or to hold in the bounds of righteousness. So in other words, whatever has been created is also being governed. This is where the Bay come in at. Bay means what? B-E-Y, means one who's able to govern according to the divine order. Now you got the creator, the L, and you got the Bay, or the governor, okay? You have the governor and the creator of the world. So now, we have the two highest attributes of the great God. And in so being, we find that when you have these powerful attributes, then whatever has been created also has a governing power. You've got the planets and the stars, but if you notice, they have being governed by orbits and systems, okay? You have the great seas and oceans, but governed by tides, okay? Whatever has been created is also being governed, all right? So justice is what you have government of the original creation that governs that particular thing, then justice takes its course and put it back, or it makes it suffer the consequences, one of the two, okay? So the way that works is that, for example, if you take a little small valve, if you will, and you place oil and some water in it and seal it, and then you shake it up, and as you look at it, you see a lot of bubbles, okay? Well, this right here is known as confusion, okay? It is not in harmony. It's not in the right order. Something is wrong, okay? Now, it's nothing wrong with the creation because oil is oil, and water has been created to be water. So there's nothing wrong with them, but neither are in the true perspective. There's something wrong here, okay? Someone that messed up something, in other words, all right? So what happened is, if you set the vase down, justice then began to take its course. And after a while, within a reasonable amount of time, there's reason, okay? Then you find that the oil will separate itself completely from the water, and the water is there, and the water is one place, the oil is another. That's justice, okay? So all it does is just put things back in its true perspective, where it rightfully, that's what it means by right order, where it rightfully belongs, okay? So bear with us, all right? It also means, justice also means the universal resolution, or in other words, universal reasoning. There is a sound or reason for everything that has ever been created and the way that it's being governed. That's justice, okay? You also find the harmonies. Justice also means harmony. Things are in accord with each other, whatever the case may be. You find that there's a harmony between the creation of man and the creation of woman. There's a harmony there. There's a reason why they were created in that particular perspective. That's a harmony, okay? Whenever things are done contrary to that harmony, you find that just going to have to come along, run its course, because somebody ain't carrying it right, okay? Defense, this too is justice. You also find justice also is recognized on the word a sustainer. In other words, it holds things there in order. This is what justice does. Again, we're given a definition for the one word, justice, okay? Justice is also a protector. It represents security, all right? So along this line, I'll go back over them again, okay? So when you hear the word justice, do bear these things in mind. So bear with us, okay? Because by the time we end up with this class, you're going to find out each and every one of us is justice, okay? This is going to be the ultimate, shall I say, version to the end of the class, okay? Justice is the great God. Yeah, that's right. Remember who made you. I said you, okay? Justice is the great God. It is our fifth principle. Out of love, truth, peace, freedom, and then you got justice, okay? Then you have justice also right order. This come out of the Constitution of Mayat, okay? Right order. Divine reason, balance, equilibrium, universal resolution, harmony, defense, sustainer, protector, security. This is justice. Islam? Okay. Now let's go into the ayat 1, okay? The prophet goes on to say that the peace of society depends on justice, the happiness of individuals, on the safe enjoyment of all their possessions, okay? So let's break this down. First of all, when the prophet speaks about the peace, what in the world is that? Because we don't know that much about no peace. It doesn't make no difference how much money you're making, what it is. You don't have too much peace in a society that discriminates, a society where you don't have any kind of power. The society that may turn against you at any given moment by you being in the community, the neighborhood, on your job, whether you're not working at night, it doesn't matter. Sooner or later, call it racial profiling, or you can call it segregation, you can call it a number of things. But sooner or later, you're going to find out that, wait a minute, I'm not at peace, okay? And even when you go to the altar to say the I do, or jump the broom, or tie the knot, whatever the case would be, there ain't too much peace in it because in the back of the mind, I can get a divorce when I want to. Okay? So ain't no more peace in the marriage. It's starting off on the rocky grounds. All right? So when you talk about peace, you're talking about tranquility. Silence. Again, you speak about harmony, a natural state. All right? When things are in harmony, things are in a natural state, then you're speaking about peace. Okay? The peace of a society. Now, again, the only thing about a society that we know about is in our own quote-unquote neighborhood or within our own family. Okay? That which we have been surmised to live out. Okay? We really don't know anything about having a society. The reason why I say that more is because in order to have a society, you must first be a nation of people with your own government in order for you to know what goes on within your own society. You must be able to have power. For example, why do you think it is that different other nationals can come into your so-called community, your neighborhood, establish business, and their children never go to your school, and still they come out successful and victorious until you don't see them anymore? That's because they come from a nation of people that is used to and also establishes they have power to have their own society. So society has power, okay? So in other words, that's another reason why you don't have peace, because you don't have your own society, okay? And the power said that the peace of a society depends on justice. Remember all the attributes we just gave of justice now. So if there is no God or your forefather in the mix, then you cannot have peace in your community, in your family, in your society. Okay? Also, you find that the happiness of the individual, so we find that the happiness later on in the Quran, happiness is based upon not only stability, but when you find happiness based upon contentment, knowing when to be satisfied. This is the foundation for all happiness, is to be content. Well, if you now wonder how come you ain't never been happy not that long, maybe it's a good song out, every now and then, and you might find a little jumping up and down, you can bob your head a little bit, but happiness is not long-lived, okay? Maybe that good feeling every now and then, so the prophet calls it that false sensation that may hit you, may vibrate you, may get you one of them spasms or something like that. It'd be so overjoyed you may even faint, pass out. However, it's short-lived, okay? Because why? You do not have contentment. You do not have satisfaction. So that happiness don't last long. So when it comes to the happiness of the individual, an individual is a citizen, a human being, a person, okay? A person is. That's what you're talking about an individual. You're talking about a person, a citizen. What in the world is that? Okay? Because in order to be a citizen, you must be a product or a person of your own heritage or nation of people. Okay? This is the reason why if you're not a nation of people already within your own rights and heritage, in other words, knowing who you are, your history, knowing where you're going, knowing about having the contributions of your citizens being accredited to your own government. The only way that can happen is through your own nation. Because if you can't otherwise take credit for what you have contributed to society or to your own community or neighborhood or nation, then someone else is taking it from you, and they're taking all the credit from you as well, okay? So there we go again. Now, the power speaks about this happiness of the individual is contingent upon on the safe enjoyment of all their possession. Now, good gracious, this is a powerful word, because when you talk about possession, you're talking about ownership. You're talking about national treasures such as freedom. We just talked about that freedom. That's one of our principles. Having your own flag, okay? Being trustworthy, okay? You're talking about Constitution, a country, nationalized resources. These are things that you could do. Do you actually own this? Any of these things? If you don't, there's a problem, okay? So how can you enjoy something, your possession, and they're not yours? You know, it's only temporary. Even if it's a house that you paying mortgage or paying rent, you know good and well, you know it ain't yours. You know it ain't yours when you moved in there, okay? But the truth of the matter is, when you find out that you actually own the continent, or you wait till the possession really set in on you, then you know just taking this course, when you find out being a Moorish American means that you actually own the continent of the Americas and all of the adjoining islands, this is your by heritage, okay? It's going to throw a whole nother light on the situation, but guess what? Until such time you come together as one sovereign power, one nation of people, loving each other, okay? There's 60 million conscious Moorish Americans here, but they're just not aware of who they are. They're a free national name, okay? But this is how it is that you'll be able to take advantage of all your possessions. You can enjoy that which is yours. If you don't have no land of your own, it's sort of hard to enjoy that which you think you possess, even if it's a brand new television or brand new computer, okay? It's sort of hard to enjoy it when you really look at it, all right? All right, now, keeping the desires of the heart, therefore, in the bounds of moderation, let the hand of justice lead them aright. Now, you know, we used to people stealing from us. Good gracious of me. And if you ain't got a whole lot of morals and principles, you're going to steal from somebody else, too. So, keeping the desire of your heart, therefore, in the bounds of moderation, what in the world is that? Because you don't know how to be moderate because you got nothing to govern, okay? Because you're talking about the hand of justice, leading things aright. You're talking about things of thought, balanced thinking, having the largest of the mind. How large can your mind be if you don't have principles that has been taught to you, okay? You talking about a little pea-brain mind. We was into that into the chapter last week, okay? Had the largest of your mind, having a balance in your thinking, okay? Right thoughts. This is how it is, because you can only have the right thoughts when you realize that there's a God that's within you, and you stop serving God that's outside of the self. This is where the wrong thoughts come in from. When you start serving God outside of yourself, then you're asking for a bunch of trouble right there alone, okay? That's why in the laws of Mayat, it says, thou should serve no God outside of the self, for otherwise it will enslave you. Okay? So now, let's move right along to ayat 3. The prophet says, cast not an evil eye. That means malicious intent, that sinful judgment, that criminal perception, wrong observation, you're looking at things wrong. Cast not an evil eye on the goods of thy neighbor. Let whatever is his power to be sacred from thy touch. Mind your business, okay? All up in there. When you seen that brother's wife, you know good and well that was his wife, and you had no business breathing all on her when you caught her by herself, okay? That's the goods of your neighbor. But then again, you don't look at him as your neighbor. Why? Because you ain't got no country. You ain't got no nation of your own. So therefore, you ain't got no respect for your own family, and you don't look at him as your neighbor. Okay? And you don't think that his wife is part of his goods, okay? That she is something good to him. We're going to get a little bit further in this aspect later on in the chapter anyway. But that is that evil eye that you got to watch out, okay? Evil eye comes from the devil within you. In other words, don't nobody develop and give you no evil thought. We've got the devil, or should I say that negative self, it comes in 5 different ways. You got Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. The beast is the one that's when you got the nature of it coming together for some wrong they ain't got no business doing, okay? But let's get down to the origin of it all, and that's that devil. Now, the devil is your negative thinking that you yourself create. That's within you, okay? It does not become satanic or Satan, until such time as you take that evil thought that you had and you go out and you try to entice somebody else with that negative thinking. Then it becomes satanic. Why? Because it's no longer confined within you and your own lower self. Okay? But ain't nobody tell you to sit down there and yourself not about your neighbor, about your friend, about somebody else. I like them rims he got on that car. Ain't nobody tell you to sit down there and think about them rims but you. Okay, you're the one. That's the devil within you. Okay? Because we all have two selves. There's the higher self and the lower self. And you let your lower self control your better judgment, whatever it may have been. So that's what we're concerned about, the evil eye. The evil eye comes from, you must remember, evil is the root word of the word devil. Okay? When you put the D in front of evil, you got devil. Well, when you look inside of the devil, you're going to find you. Why? Because it doesn't make no difference. Let's take the D off. You still got evil, okay? And if you take the D and the E off, you still got vile. You take the V off, you still got ill. It's a sick word, and it's all in you. It means you got the terrible thinking going on, okay? So that evil eye, yeah, that's how your lower self see things, okay? And it's always going to try to justify it. Always going to try. Lower self always going to try to justify no, that is thinking, okay? Because the evil eye means it's malicious intent, it's sinful judgment. It's a criminal kind of perspective, okay? It's a wrong kind of observation, all right? And then you're going to take this evil eye and you're going to cast it on the goods of your neighbor. No wonder you can't let whatever is his property be taken from your touch, because you ain't thinking right, and you're not looking right. So your eyes itself, they're the sensitive watchers, but they can't distinguish truth from error. So it's up to you to tell your eyes what to see. Okay? They got the eyes are just like the hands. They ain't got no power of their own unless you raise that hand or tell the eye to look. Hey, I like him. Okay? Now you know, sisters, you know that you was married to the brother. You got a husband there at home, but you're looking at another sister. Like, what's up with that? Okay, that's that evil eye. Okay, then you got temptation. Oh my goodness, the prophet says, "Let no temptation allure thee to any provocation." Here we go. Okay, let no temptation. What in the world is a temptation? You talking about the lure. Well, I have to deal with that word lure because by me being an old fisherman from way back off the Chesapeake Bay, we should use lures. And you find out that lures can be used in society too, okay? A lure is whatever it is that you want to attract, okay? So you use a lure to appeal to whatever it is that you want to catch. Okay? So it depends upon what kind of fish we was out to get that expression day. That would determine what kind of lures we were going to use. Okay? It won't nothing but just some old, well, I never did deal with no catfish, but let me deal with some. Let's talk about a bass, okay? Well, bass, you can use a worm for a bass, okay? Because he's like, oh man, that's an allurement right there. So you put a worm on the hook. But even the fish would take that bait if he knew the hook was in it. Okay? So here we go. This is an allurement. Why? Because the worm is going to lure the bass. Well, that's not the only kind of allurement that you have. Okay? Because you can put on certain clothes and they become allurements. And they're going to attract. So what you looking at my butt for? What you doing with it hanging out like that? Okay? You're luring somebody because you ain't got nothing on but a G-string. Now, what do you expect somebody to say? Okay? So now, you're going to turn around. Here you got money hanging out your pocket. And you tell me, ain't nobody better not stick you up. Okay. But you're luring somebody with that money hanging out your pocket. You got all this gold all over you and everything. And we're the only people on the planet can make jewelry out of slave chains. Okay? So, the thing about it, when you get to talking about these allurements, then you got to be real careful because your words can be luring, your actions can be allures, okay? So when you talk about temptations, then you talk about those things that appeal to something, those things that attract, it actually pulls, okay, or induces or entices something to come towards you, okay? That's why you got to be careful about temptation. The Bible says, let no temptation allure thee. And there's that bait again. Allurement ain't nothing but a charm, okay? Something that can magnetize or draw you to where it is. And you know how it is. People use allurement in our community all the time. What do you think cocaine is? It's an allurement. What do you think pistols is? It's an allurement. You don't own no poppy field. You don't own no gun factory. So what's happening? Okay? So these are allurements to do what? For crime. And what's going to happen when you become a criminal? You go to jail. You become a product that somebody can do what? Run their business. Why? Because crime pays in America. So the more people they can lock up, the better. Do you know the prison system is on the stock market? It's on the stock exchange. Because with every conviction, no, I'm sorry, let me get it right from the beginning. With every arrest, thousands of people get paid with every arrest. It's not just the arresting officer, okay? No. I mean, you've got to deal with the deputies, you've got to deal with the clerk, the bail bonds, and the magistrate. You got, oh yeah, a lot of people get paid and don't get a conviction. Oh my goodness. You talking about wardens, guards, all kinds of things, all up and down the ladder. Okay, law enforcement up there, everywhere. Okay? So, again, this comes from mess with them allurement. You didn't, like the prophet said earlier, even a fish wouldn't take the cocaine if he knew the deal was hidden in it. Okay? So it's the same thing. You got to be careful about these things and the words that you use and the events that you occur. It can bring out the negativeness in you because people know it's a weakness. So they put these kind of allurements out there. They already know you're not a nation of people. They know you don't have a government. You got no protection. Okay? So they come up with, they got new criminal things out now called paper terrorism. Why? Because you're trying to fight your way through their court, using their system and their words. Okay? But you ain't got no backup. Okay? There's the bait. There's the hook. But what you got to keep you in the water? None. Okay? So you in a tank to start with. Okay? So when it comes down to let no temptations allure thee, nor any provocation. Now, watch that word provocation, because when you get to provoking stuff, you got to be on the lookout, You don't want to let anything or person aggravate you or irritate you or frustrate you or annoy you or incite you or inflame. Okay, this is what it means to when you provoke something or somebody. Let no provocation. You don't want nobody to irritate you or frustrate you to the point you want to do something. Okay? Whew, here we go. Okay? Or excite thee to do what? To lift up thy hand to the hazard of his life. Now let's bear in mind, we're going to go through, because this is what's in our subject chapter, excite thee. There's that lower self, that shallow mystery, that mindless self, that negative thinking. Here it comes. Only the lower self can tell the hand what to do, the higher self. See what I'm saying? The hand, we know the hand is symbolic of the mind, but that's just a symbol. Now let's talk about the real hand that's made out of flesh and bone. But flesh can't think and bones can't reason. So that hand, if you could put the hand on your knee right now, it would stay there until the end of time, until you think it to do something else. But the hand it can't move by itself. You got to tell it to move. Okay, hand, raise up and put it on the arm of the chair. Okay, hand, pick up that pen and write. Okay, hand, wave at somebody. Okay, hand, okay, you telling that hand what to do. So, in other words, judges know this. So when you go to court and the judge, and you say, well, judge, it was in self-defense. And the judge looked like, did you have your hand connected to your wrist, connected to your mind when you pulled the trigger? That's the way the judge is thinking. But he can't tell you that because he don't want you to think, to know that the hand don't have no power to think or reason. Okay? That you are the one who was in control of whatever your hand did. But he don't want you to know that, okay? So that's what it is when you get to talk about provocation. So you don't want something to get you so excited that you're going to misuse your powers as a God that's in you to tell your hand to do something not. Okay? Put that in his mouth. What? Oh my goodness. No, you didn't think it. Yes, you did think it. And it was your hand that went all up in that brother's mouth, and that's why he's shooting at you. Okay? So anyhow, we're talking about the hazard of his life, okay? That means to put his life in some kind of danger because you think he's vulnerable, okay? You think there's something that's weakness about that. You want to bring a hazard to the life. You might even take it if the Lord self is strong enough, all right? But this is not the kind of society. This is not justice. We're talking justice now because had it not been for justice, you would probably wouldn't even know there was you that controlled the hand. But we're talking the chapter on justice to let you know that you are held accountable for what your hand do. Now, wouldn't nobody tell you that but somebody that loves you, okay? Somebody going to give you holy instructions like Noble Drew Ali. That's how we're able to get these lessons out to you, okay? Now here we come to the other good part, okay? The prophet goes on to say, defame him not, bear no false witness against him. That's ayat 5, okay? Defame him not, and bear no false witness against him. Now, when you defame something, you insulted, you slandered, you offended, you disrespected, you're going to be taking away the power of the character that person has invested in themselves, okay? And then you're going to find also when you, the character of a person is their constitution. It's everything about them, okay? It's the quality of that special person. When you talk about their character, you're talking about their personality, you're talking about their very nature, or you're talking about the spirit and the charms of that special person, integrity, okay? Those things that about that person that appeal to other people. Now, you're going to take that and you're going to defame it. Let's direct the course of it, okay? And the prophet said, and bear no false witness. In other words, when you pretend to be the observer, or it's your lying eyewitness, that's what it is, lying eyewitness, negative viewer, a phony perceiver, okay, a false spectator. You didn't really see, you was just lying. You know that he didn't do that, she didn't do it either, okay? So you there bear false witness against somebody to make somebody else lose trust and confidence in that special person, okay? In other words, you're defaming that character. Defamation of character, there's lawsuits about it according to European standards, but what about justice? This is what we're concerned, because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali clearly said, by the time you violate any of Rome's law, you done already violated his law, okay? Now, let's get into number 6. Corrupt not his servant to cheat or forsake him, and the wife of his bosom, or tempt not to sin. I'll read that again for those who do not have it in front of you. Corrupt not his servant to cheat or forsake him, and the wife of his bosom, or tempt not to sin. So let's look at this here. We got to highlight it. Corrupt not his servant to cheat or forsake. That means do not cause or misdirect the trust of his supporters to turn evil against the love and the respect for him, okay? That means people, because see, everybody's got a support system, you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and people that, you might be a mechanic down the street, you know, you can depend on them to work on your car, or there might be someone that got a little talent with electricity, and if you got a short in your house, he can come and fix it up for you. Okay, a support system, you know, somebody friendly, all right? It could be somebody else with even closer than that. But here comes Joe Spiffing down with the bed upside down, and he gonna, hey man, I wouldn't go in Brother Bed. So I know he told you about the electricity, but look, he did something over here, man, that's unforgivable, man. And so now, here you go with your good electric knowing self. Instead of relying upon the same brother that helped you, you're going to turn against with the stranger that's misdirected you and the love that this brother that trusted in you. And this is the master word. It's a violation of the trust. What was you entrusted with? You was entrusted. He invited you in his house to fix his electricity. He trusted you. That was the mode of trust right there. When he let you work on his car, that was a level of trust that he could find in you. The friendship, okay? That last cup of coffee that he bought for you, you know, okay? Or when he may have helped you out well, he may have loaned you a little money here and there. He may have helped you with the family. But the main thing is the trust factor here, all right? And when they speak about the servant, you know, we have a thing, we say, well, I ain't no slave, ain't nobody's servant. But when you look at the chapter of master and servant we just went through, oh yeah, you definitely want to be there, because this right here, a servant is someone who's conscious of the God that's in them, okay? And when you reach out for that kind of servant, then you don't want that kind of person to that has been entrusted with to do this someone else. You don't want them to turn against him, okay? And when it gets to his wife, oh my goodness. Now, I'm going to take this to another level, okay? Because sometimes we have a tendency to confine wife to the sister that was at the altar with him and things like that, okay? But see, the prophet didn't necessarily say that. He said, and the wife of his bosom, O tempt not to sin. So when you look at the wife, you're talking about the main supporter. You're talking about his companion, okay? You're talking about his dedication. What about the life spouse, okay? The one who's most faithful, the entrusted one. This is a wife. And now, we understand about the marriage, and that's the wife on that level. But I had a friend of mine, I think he's a little slowed down right now. His name was William Donald Schaefer. He was the mayor of the city of Baltimore back in the 70s, and he later went on to become governor of the state of Maryland. But he never married, never had any children, anything like that. And whenever he was asked, Mayor Schaefer, what about a wife? He always said, this is my wife. I'm married to the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland. He would always say that, okay? So that's the reason why I wanted to bring that aspect up, because all the time a person's wife, it doesn't necessarily mean the woman that he was at the altar with. It means that which is most entrusted to him. It could be his job. It could be any number of things that he has confined himself to or hold dear to himself. And then you want to take that, or those persons, those staff, or their employees, those divine ministers, it could be any number of things, and tell them, misguide them, or make them forsake him. Come on now, okay? Because why? He has put his life and heart and trust in that special entity or person, okay? So when you get down, you get to talk about the wife of his bosom, you know, there's there were temptations back again. Oh, tempt not to sin. Whenever you deal with a sin, you're talking about a violation of the ordinance of Allah. We ain't talking about no crime, okay? Sins take place in the heart, okay? Sin takes place in the thought. It's when you manifest that thought that it becomes a crime to man, because that's when you violate the man's law. But the sin, like the prophet said, the sin itself, it lies in the wish and in the desire, not in the act. When the act comes out, it becomes a crime. But we're talking about the sin. Don't tempt her to sin. In other words, don't change her thought pattern about her faithfulness to him. Okay? Don't change their thought pattern about their loyalty to their government. Don't change their thought pattern to their sacredness to that. Don't do that. Okay? Because if you do, you won't be able to replace that which has been lost. Okay? Now that you care. But the prophet speaks about it too. Then we're going to go into this, to the book for a minute. You know, it would be grief to his heart which thou canst not relieve, and injury to his life which no reparation can atone. So what the prophet is saying here, he said, neither the transgressor, unjust, nor those who have been tricked into cheating can replace the broken trust, the love, and the pain forcibly caused by this traitor. And that's what you are. You're a traitor if you cause someone to turn against that paper that entrusted them, okay? You become the traitor. Why? Because that's the government there. That's the heart of the life invested there, okay? Whenever you have a family, an orient, or you got a business going on, that's a government. Make no mistake about it, okay? If it's just the loyalty and the friendship between two people, that too is a government. Now you want to step up in there because you don't like them hanging out together. Now you want to say something that's going to cause one to turn against the other. Then you become a traitor. Why? Because you had to become a part of the government in order to get between the two of them. Okay? So that loyalty, you done missed, oh man. Anyway, we're going to go on with the word justice because due to popular demand, we also have in the Islamic world, the highest form of the symbol for the word justice, similar to the word star with us. Our star represents love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the 5-pointed open green star. We're the only people on earth that can proclaim that star, the 5-pointed open green star. All closed star has jurisdiction. The open star is infinite jurisdiction, okay? So what we want to do is to look at the divine origin of the scimitar. Why? Because in the Moorish flag, we're not talking about the flag of Morocco. We're talking about the Moorish flag. One of the highlights of the principles in the Moorish flag is that called justice, which is our chapter for the week, okay? The word justice, as we just gave the definition, but we also have the scimitar throughout the whole Islamic world. Bear in mind, brothers and sisters, now, that throughout the entire world of Islam, it was our forefathers, founders of the world's first religious creed, okay? Islam, for the salvation of man on the face of this earth, it means every member of the human family, okay? Our forefathers are the originators, they are the founders, they are the creators of the whole world of Islam. Not Muhammad, okay? Muhammad said he perfected Islam, but what that means is that he had transliterated Islam out of the Comitian Arab teachings into the language of Arabic, which was the language of his people. When he transliterated it from the Comitian teachings into Arabic, then he said, I have perfected for you this day your religion, and I now call it Islam. But he didn't create it. How in the world are you going to create something already perfect? Islam is perfect. It just means the passageway from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. That's how he came back, okay? So, bearing this in mind, and hold on a second here. Yeah, bearing this in mind, we want to ask the Grand National Secretary, if she will, to read from us page 541 in the book Noble Drew Ali, The Exhuming of a Nation. And this portion here is dealing with the scimitar, as it is with the, we'll give you a little bit of history here because we're dealing with the word justice. And the scimitar is the highest symbol for justice that is known, period, okay? So we're going to ask the sister to come before you as she reads pages 540 and 541. Please give her your undivided attention, and we'll highlight this over and we'll open up the floor for question and answers, okay? That's all.
The scimitar. Its divine origin and purpose. The illustrious prophet, Sharif Abdul Ali, returned the scimitar to the Moorish tribes of the Americas. This great emblem of justice. Justice is also the fifth of the 5 great principles for the Moorish Americans. Is yet another inherent saving power from their ancient forefathers. The ancient Moabites were the first to materialize the sword in harmony with universal laws. Justice is one of the infinite attributes of the great God, Allah. A sign always precedes justice. The scimitar is the only member of the sword family within ancient history. The symbol of the scimitar originated in the consciousness conquest of truth over Maya, as it was first used by the cherubim, the archangel of the stations of the sun, zodiac. See Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 1 and Genesis 3, ayat 24. The ancient Moors used the scimitar to subdue the earth, conquering the wild beasts so civilizations could come in. Scimitars are the only swords recognized by its distinctive convex. This curved exterior surface represents the perfect circle, omnipotence, and the continuous, never-ending presence of the Creator. The curved blade with the shape edge on the convex side has its weight balanced from the center to the outermost point above the cutting edge. This is in alliance with the centrifugal unfoldment of man's deific life. Every part of the scimitar is designed by men of understanding, for all men to understand. The great scimitar, as returned by Drew Ali, is in the utmost trinity of sections: the barrel, the guard, and the blade. The barrel, or handle, represents the great God, divine rule, and the government in all creation. It is omnipotent laws which govern all events. The guard represents the angels, e.g. the cherubim, seraphim, death, Michael, Gabriel, Ethereal, and cosmic planes, which defend stations between infinite wisdom and human knowledge. The guard delineates the deific will and the course of truth. The scimitar still holds much more wisdom to be learned by the descendants of the ancient Moors, born here in America. Oh, the whole page? Thanks, more. The blade is balance, equality, and the level from which the plumb line of man's consciousness is suspended to the plummet of his actions. See tools. The ancient ones knew equality can only be found in justice. The scimitar is the sign of the spirit of Allah's jurisprudence. The Hindu uses the Sanskrit word karma to describe the fixed course of justice. Man reaps what man sows, or what goes around comes around, etc. All right, now we're requested to pay attention to this particular paragraph. The scimitar also represents force. Yehoshua, whose name means justice, question number 36, said, force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Man and other thinking things directs the force. When it has done its work, the power is no more. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 7. Justice is the principle used by force, which keeps the creations of Allah in their designated harmony. Freemasons with no eye for divinity assume the scimitar to mean power, the power of the pale-skinned God, and their idea of force is their armies, navy, air force, and a few good men, the armed forces. Oh, look what they have done to our song, man. The Turks and Arabs made the scimitar renowned to the modern nations of the earth. Prophet Muhammad used a two-edged scimitar in his recivilizing of the world, one convex for force and the other for power. In the 4th century B.C., old Damocles had a hanging by a hair above his head during a feast. It reminded him that the power to a ruler of men is not greater than the force of his Creator. Today, in the holy city of Mecca and other Islamic countries, the scimitar is used for the castrating of body parts and mainly decapitation of those convicted of various sins and crimes. It is used by a mufti on Friday immediately after Jummah services. And with the chant of Allah Akbar, he uses the scimitar to send the body to earth and the soul to its Creator. Contrary to modern belief and usage, the scimitar is not a weapon. Weapons are instruments of destruction and murder. See the cross. The mighty scimitar is not controlled by passions, emotions, desires, and other weaknesses of carnal man. Nevertheless, the Islamic and Masonic worlds adopted the scimitar from the ancient Moors of Africa. Its symbolic use in their holistic way of life represented their faith. They founded the first Otep Sutan Nosi, Islamism, Man Know Thyself. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 46, ayat 6 through 8. The Arab uses the scimitar symbol to the swiftness of infinite thought, communicated between the spirit father and spirit man. The scimitar still holds much more wisdom to be learned by the descendants of the ancient Moors, born here in America. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 47, ayat 10. The scimitar is a Moor's heritage. No other nation, religious group, or secret society can rightfully claim the scimitar. Noble Drew Ali brought it to light from the seal of the Moorish American nation. Like moles thrive in darkness, the warlike nature of the European is powered nocturnally. Like so, the nations of Europe acquired their new world dominance under falsehood, ignorance, fear, and death. But these things would not have been empowered without first placing the light of African civilization under a shroud of darkness. It is said, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. This is true of the latter 300 years of the Piscean age, 2,000 years. Never before in the history of man have billions of people been so deceived as to the consciousness that man is truth, that the great God and man are one. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 7, ayat 23. The scimitar also has been tarnished to appear as a weapon, an instrument of murder, and a symbol of fear. As the Moorish hordes awakened slowly in the Western Hemisphere, the symbol of the scimitar appeared in the hands of their pale-skinned conquerors, parentheses, the Shriners of the York and Scottish Rites of the Free Masonic Orders, end parentheses. And, because this was falsehood, who had donned the clothing of truth, e.g. names like Medina, Mecca, Arabian, and Egyptian, plus attired with symbols and dress of ancient African mastery and Islamic conquest, the Moorish were hoodwinked into believing Freemasonry to be their gods. The Moorish had no one to tell them it was indeed their own forefathers who were the founders of the holy city of Mecca. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 45, ayat 2. And the founders and true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 46, ayat 6. Also, they are the rightful heirs of turbans, fezzes, and the scimitar. That was until the advent of Noble Drew Ali. So, for the first time in ages, the great sword of civilization is in the hands of the Moorish Americans. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 45, ayat 2. What people are experiencing today is not civilization. A world where it's a shame to enter the world and the destructive departure is glorified. To give life, a man hides his face, but if he kills thousands, he's honored. But custom cannot alter the nature of truth. Neither can the opinion of man destroy justice. The glory and the shame are misplaced. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 44, ayats 44 through 6. The scimitar has been ill-used and misrepresented since out of the hands of its rightful owners. The Moorish Americans need not fear the scimitar because it is their soul's best friend. A conscious man would never look upon the scimitar as a weapon or anything other than a bearer of life. The truth is in the origin and purpose, with the wisdom to know the use. The scimitar is now in the hands, parentheses, mind, end parentheses, of the Asiatics of North America. Only they, through their deific will, in tune with the Father's will, can activate the services of the great scimitar.
Well, thank you so much. We want to bring our class to somewhat of a closure at this juncture, and we will continue with the chapter on justice on our Wednesday night's class, and making preparations for our Friday holiday services. But on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, we want to continue this class on justice. We'll go through the rest of the ayahs here, and also the deific meaning of the scimitar, as well as the Moorish flag. I know there's been a lot of controversy about the Moorish flag, but just to put that to rest, just briefly, those who cannot see the Moorish flag are also those who cannot see the Moorish Americans as a nation of people. If you don't see the nation, you can't see any use for them to have a flag. With that case, the land either, history either, sealed either, or the Grand National Emblem, no forefathers. In other words, just be property of your life, okay? So until you recognize that the Moorish Americans are a clean and pure nation of people, and we'll go into the history of the Moorish flag. We'll be doing that Wednesday, okay? Because a lot of people think, well, it's the flag of Morocco. Yeah, please. Morocco didn't get the flag till 1403. Well, then again, they didn't even get the flag then. They just got the star. That's really the most important thing about the Moorish flag is the star. And because the star means it's God and man. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I mean, as above, so below. As your God is, so are you. And so we'll go into that history on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And we want to ask everyone to kindly join in with us and what our national class is. Meanwhile, we will now open up the floor for any questions or comments